All right, good morning. We are going to call to order the August 28, 2025 meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District. Selena, would you please call the roll?
Chair Aquino,
Here.
Director Desmond,
Here.
Director Dickinson, Director Guerra, Director Hume, Director Kennedy,
Here.
Director Lopez Taff. Here. Director Maple, Director Pratton.
Here.
Director Robles, Director Rodriguez, Director Sander,
Here.
Director Cerna, Director Vang. We do not have quorum yet.
Okay. Well, if you'd all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you could please read the announcements.
Members of the public are encouraged to observe the meeting in real time at metro14live.saccounty.gov, participate in person via Zoom video or teleconference line, and by submitting written comments to boardclerk@airquality.org. Comments will be delivered to the Board of Directors. Public comments regarding matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors will be acknowledged by the chairperson, distributed to the Board of Directors, and included in the record. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the Local Government Affairs channel on Comcast and DirecTV U-verse cable systems. Today's meeting will replay on Saturday, August 30th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14.
Great, thank you. We will skip the consent calendar for now. Dr. Ayala, is there a presentation you would prefer that we start with? Does it matter? You want to just take them in order?
Yeah, just take them in order.
Okay. Then that takes us to item 6.1, a supplemental environmental projects program update. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Is this on?
There you go.
There we go. Good morning, Chair Aquino and members of the board. My name is Angela Thompson, and I'm a program manager in the Engineering and Compliance Division. And I'm here to give an update on our supplemental environmental projects. And we'll just wait a second for the slides.
1 second.
You got them? Okay. Okay. Go ahead to the next slide, Selena. So supplemental environmental projects are quite a tongue twister, and they are legally required elements of air quality enforcement programs. And basically, they are an option for violators to offset a portion of their violation by funding an environmentally beneficial program. Districts like our district and others in the state, and agencies like CARB and EPA, allow up to 50% of a violation to be offset. And this is because we use the remaining 50% to fund other important enforcement programs, like the SEP program itself. The SEP program works by us soliciting projects from community groups and nonprofits and public agencies. These projects need to directly benefit the public, improve air quality and the environment. And they need to also have a nexus to the violation, go above and beyond, not benefit the violator, and not replace legally required compliance. We spend a lot of time reviewing and prioritizing these projects, and we work with the violator when selecting them to ensure we're getting the most beneficial program that achieves district priorities and aligns with our goals. Next slide, please. So a major priority for the district has been our community programs. The SEP program demonstrates our continued commitment to these communities as we prioritize projects in our 617 communities. Because this funding is extremely flexible and limited, we look for the most impactful projects that may have no other source of funding. Keeping all of these factors in mind, we internally prioritize them, and this upcoming funding, we really look to align them with our 617 community air protection work. Next slide. So now I'd like to talk to you about some of our past projects and then introduce our new projects. In December of 2023, we completed the Midtown Association Carbon Footprint Reduction Program. This project replaced 2 gas-powered trucks with zero-emission vehicles. It swapped out a gas-powered generator with a solar-powered one installed custom bike racks throughout the Midtown area, added large drought-resistant planters, and overall created a more sustainable public space. Next slide. Our second completed project was the SAC 350 air filtration project. This was a really unique project because it focused on directly educating the community and providing them with tools to protect themselves from wildfire smoke. You can see in the picture there, they hosted workshops to assist families in assembling their own low-cost air filtration system using commonly available materials like box fans and filters that you can get from stores. This wrapped up in 2023 also and was able to serve over 600 families. Next slide. We're in the middle of wrapping up our Mutual Assistance Network Together Outdoors project, and this is located in the Firehouse Community Center in Del Paso Heights. And what this project was doing is reducing the urban island effect, heat island effect, and improving climate resistance and resilience by removing a bunch of asphalt and replacing it with native drought-tolerant landscaping and creating an area where community members can gather and receive education and just have a place where they can improve, enjoy the environment in an area that has traditionally been underserved. Next slide. So we recently received $518,000 in SEP funding available. So we went out and did a new solicitation in May of this last year, of 2025. And this solicitation, we received a really great set of projects, and we were able to select 2 for funding, and we have remaining 13 that are available and will remain available for funding. With the 2 that were selected, we prioritized the ones, as I've said, that align with the 617 community goals and strategies that are being developed. Next slide, please. So the first project that was selected is the South Sac Tree Alliance. This is by Sacramento Tree Foundation, and they're partnering with United Latinos. This project connects tree planting with green workforce pathways and civic engagement, and this is aligned with the Franklin Boulevard Complete Street projects and our 617 emission reduction plan strategies. This is a very large project, and they're looking to plant 1,000 trees in the South Sacramento neighborhoods and host community tree planting and tree care events. And they'll be providing trees and shrubs and planter boxes and engaging over 500 residents and businesses, all while providing bilingual outreach and education. Next slide. And the second project that we'll be funding is the Sacramento Community Evolution campaign, and this is by ET Community. And this is more of an educational campaign that is focused on inclusive electric mobility and promote community uplift. They will also be highlighting other cost-saving electrification opportunities and leveraging partnerships with local organizations and faith-based groups. They look to deliver 4 gatherings and 3 to 6 listening sessions where they really tailor their sessions to the community and look to engage the community and help them overcome barriers to accessing these programs and switching to electric options. Next slide. So that, to just kind of wrap it up, that is where we're at with the SEP program. We're very proud of this program. It's pretty unique, where a lot of our districts are just starting to roll these out. And we have made ours especially unique because of our emphasis on targeting and pushing projects in underserved areas. So we have successfully funded 3 projects, and then we are very excited about these 2 new projects that are coming forward. And then we have a project list available for any other opportunities that may arise. So that's all I have for you. I'm happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none. Okay, well, thank you very much. Welcome to Director Hume. We're still waiting for one more before we can go to quorum, or have quorum, right? So we will go on to...
Before we move on to the next item, we do have Jessica Sanders here who would like to do public comment on this item right here.
Okay.
Sorry. It's going to take a minute.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
While she's coming, I just wanted to shout out to staff on the Franklin Boulevard project. That is exciting, and it's kind of funny because just yesterday my office was saying, how can we get more trees in South Sacramento? Literally, so that's fantastic. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Board of Directors for allowing me to speak on behalf of the Sacramento Tree Foundation. Your continued board service to the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District ensures that our region prioritizes public health and the environment, and that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you to your amazing executive director and all of the staff that works to implement this. I am Jessica Sanders. I'm the executive director of the Sacramento Tree Foundation. I'd like to take the opportunity to talk about the SCP program. We endeavor to live in a world where there are no violations. That would be great. But when there are violations, this program ensures that it's going to communities impacted. And thank you. So our nonprofit is invested in creating livable and lovable communities. We create livable communities through planting and caring for trees, which are necessary infrastructure and investments in our communities. Trees establish lovable communities by creating a sense of place and providing a grounding connection with our surrounding environment that public infrastructure improvements like sewer pipes or pothole replacements don't really endear with the public. We create livable and lovable communities by grounding our work in the entire life cycle of the tree from seed to slab, harvesting acorns, growing those in the classroom with children, planting free trees in our communities, educating our communities on the joy and benefits of trees, and when a tree needs to be removed, milling it, kiln drying it, and making those trees available to the public or community groups via wood donations. In short, we care very deeply about trees, but we care even more about our communities and how trees can benefit them. When walking in areas of historic high tree canopy like Curtis Park, your overall health indicators increase. Your blood pressure lowers, your stress hormones are decreased, and on a hot summer day, your overall comfort is immense. When you cross over 14th Ave into North City Farms neighborhood, you can feel a drastic difference in the overall experience just based on tree canopy. The goal of this funding is to remove the barriers of planting trees so that tree-lined neighborhoods are the norm in our region, not the exception. We recognize that our communities hold all the power. So rather than working to empower communities, this grant will work with the community to implement a better future for tomorrow. Our South Sacramento Tree Alliance project is located in AV 617, and we can't wait to get the project started. We're building off continued work and investment in the community by many groups, and we believe that we all play a part in a successful, sustainable future. The South Sacramento Tree Alliance focuses on deeply targeted community outreach and engagement to address systemic barriers to tree planting while planting 1,000 new trees in the community. We cannot do the work alone, and we're proud to partner with United Latinos to have bilingual outreach and education. There are many barriers to planting trees. Comprehensive road diets, increasing public right-of-ways, and removing concrete will take years for planning and execution. This program, the South Sacramento Tree Alliance, focuses on what we can do right now. We want to make the future better for our communities. We have expanded our tree species available to not only shade trees that are climate resilient, but also fruit trees and native pollinator shrubs to ensure more people can benefit from the trees that they would like, not just those that are good for the climate. We develop and conduct outreach addressing misperceptions about trees' watering costs in multiple languages. We are addressing some areas that currently have no space to plant trees. While we won't be removing asphalt with this program, we will install large planter boxes. Imagine a 4-foot by 4-foot by 4-foot redwood container. Those are suitable for small shade trees and will help provide shade on top of paved surfaces, installing a quick impact for the community. These planter boxes are actually built from trees removed from the community, and we're honoring the history in Sacramento by making sure they don't go to the dump and turn into future carbon issues, but are used and valued as a member of our community. The concept of sweat equity has long been a storied tradition in urban forestry. The thought is that if you get something for free, if you don't help to put it in, you won't value it. We are changing this model. If you work a manual labor job, the last thing you want to do when you come home and on your day off is do more manual labor. So we believe we should treat our communities like VIPs in this area. As such, we're providing free planting services as the community needs, free educational workshops, and resources to promote young tree care and watering. We have seen street trees die because they aren't watered, because it's an impact on a neighboring business. We are offering watering services as part of this grant for businesses that are hesitant to absorb the cost and time of watering our street trees. We are at a critical point in our region's future, where our work will either strengthen our ability to be resilient or undermine it by taking away valuable natural resources from valuable communities. We manage our urban forests for the people, but if we are to build a resilient region, it's imperative that we design our communities around our parks, forests, and waterways. Thank you again for the time today, for your continued work, both on this board and your daily lives, and our continued partnership and investment in the communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think livable and lovable is my new favorite phrase. Was there one other speaker who wanted?
Just this one.
Just this one. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could get
Yes.
a tree right here, that'd be great.
Got it.
Okay. Then we can move on to the next item?
Yes.
Okay. Community air protection, new portable lab air monitoring campaign. Good morning.
Good morning, distinguished board and Chair Aquino. My name is Levi Ford. I'm the program supervisor for the air monitoring section. And today I'm going to provide you an update on the new portable lab air monitoring campaign. Next slide. As a bit of a background, AB 617 was signed by Governor Jerry Brown in 2017. The program was designed to have local air districts work with selected communities with a focus on community-level issues like pollution from highways, lack of community funding, and grant funding. It was meant to bring strategies and funding to reduce local community emissions. To date, 19 communities have been selected for this specific program, and our community is the South Sacramento Flooring Community. Next slide. Communities were selected for a community air monitoring plan, also known as a CAMP, or a community emission reduction plan, also known as a CERP, or both. Our community was selected for a CAMP. The air district and the communities designed their CAMP to identify the level and type of air pollution in their specific area. The CAMP was completed and submitted to the Air Resources Board in July of 2020. The picture to the right shows the community boundary and the specific type of air monitoring equipment they wanted to place in each priority area. Next slide, please. The camp broke down air monitoring into 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 was deployment of 22 particle sensors that are still deployed today. Phase 2 was deployment of 6 standalone sensors that are analyzed for volatile organic compounds and toxic metals. And phase 3 was deployment of the AB 617 portable lab at Fernbacon Middle School using professional grade equipment. Next slide, please. The portable lab started sampling in May of 2023, and the deployment was celebrated with a community event in April of 2023. The lab analyzed for pollutants that the community was concerned about because of traffic and industrial sources. After almost 2 years of monitoring at Fernbacon Middle School, the steering committee has decided to move the lab to a different location and start a new air monitoring campaign. Next slide, please. In July of 2024, at the recommendation of the steering committee in the district, CARB transitioned our community to a CERP. With this decision came the expanded boundary and new suggested locations for the portable lab. Next slide, please. With the newly expanded boundary, shown as the right, the steering committee suggested 5 locations to place the portable lab. The Air District looked at all five locations, and all locations did not meet the needs of a portable lab, such as a close source of power or unobstructed airflow. When we were visiting the Sac City Courtyard, the courtyard said they might have another location that we could look at that was really close. It was a third of a mile northwest of the courtyard. We looked at that location, and it met all the needs. It has a close source of power, it has unobstructed airflow, and it's a great place to put the portable lab. So in June of 2025, the Air District presented the alternate location to the steering committee. The steering committee voted, and the alternate location passed. Next slide, please. We're currently finalizing our agreement with the City of Sacramento and anticipate to start monitoring winter of 2025. The portable lab will monitor at this location for a minimum of a year to get full diurnal and seasonal patterns. All the data collected at this place will be shared with the community at steering committee meetings and made available on our district webpage. We'd like to give a big special thank you to the City of Sacramento for partnering with us in these air quality endeavors. Next slide. With that, are there any questions?
Thank you, Levi. Any questions from my colleagues? I don't see anyone in the queue. Okay, any member of the public wanting to speak on this item, Selena? I don't think
this
so.
time, Chair.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and with the arrival of Supervisor Rodriguez, we now have a quorum, so we're going to go back to the consent calendar. Does anybody have questions on the consent calendar?
I'll go ahead and move the item for.
There's nobody from the public who wants to speak?
Not at this time, Chair.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second, and because we don't have anybody teleconferencing today, we can just say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstained? Okay, the consent calendar passes. That takes us back to our next presentation, our 2025 legislative priorities and budget update.
Hi, Madam Chair, members. My name is Amy Brown. I'm with ARC Strategies. This is my business partner, Dominic Damari. We represent the Sac Metro Air District before the state legislature, governor's office, and various state agencies. We have a slide that we're going to toggle sort of back and forth. But before we go through the slides, I think what would help is to give an overview of where we are legislative-wise. There's a lot of moving parts. As you all know how the legislative process moves, it moves very quickly. And in terms of timing, right now we're 2 weeks before the end of session. Session ends on September 12th, and then the governor has 30 days after that to veto or sign legislation that gets on his desk. The issue before us today that is happening is the discussions with cap and trade and extending that program. I think everyone in the legislature, the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor's office all agree that there needs to be some sort of cap and trade deal to move forward. To sort of give some comfort and some stability in the marketplace. How that all plays out and which, issues are going to come to the forefront, that's the big sticking point right now. So in, everyone's mind, 2 weeks isn't a lot of time to put a deal together, but I think Dom and I, and Dom can kick me if he doesn't agree, are confident that a deal is going to be put together, right? So you've got the Assembly framework, which is very different from the governor's framework, which is very different from the Senate's framework. I would say last week, the Senate, kind of tubed the Assembly version, et cetera. You know how these negotiations go. I think we're going to see something in a very short period of time. So we've got details on all those different frameworks, happy to share if there's questions that come up. So we were asked to do sort of an overview on state legislation and the state budget, which was passed at the end of June 30th of this year for the fiscal year 25-26. So let's go through our slides briefly so we can have time for questions. Real quick, so, the budget this year we were facing a deficit. As much as in January, February, $40 billion, it ended up being about 20 with, the final deficit being around 12 with a lot of deferrals. They tapped into the rainy day fund, which is constitutionally protected based on various caps that you have to meet in order to tap into those funds. It does not account for the pending federal cuts. I just want to go back to the cap and trade deal as well to create stability in the marketplace. I think, it's the incentive of California to get a cap and trade deal because of the threats that we're seeing from, the Trump administration on potentially cutting, some of our climate programs. So let's go to the next slide. In terms of, specific air quality, I think, one of the things to highlight is the $132 million one time from the Air Pollution Control Fund for the hybrid and zero emission truck and gas voucher incentive program, and then $2.3 million in ongoing for air pollution control funds to implement these incentive programs. Next slide. You want to take over wildfire?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, the other item that came up, well, one of the other items is what to do with some of the GGRF funds and move monies over to addressing wildfires and wildfire prevention and suppression. So they took $1.54 billion out of the general fund and shifted it to the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. Was semi-controversial. Everyone agrees that we should be fighting wildfires and suppressing and preventing them, but there was not consensus early on about whether or not this was a good use of the monies generated by the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. In the end, the governor and leadership came together on this. They also included $31.5 million for a new CAL FIRE training center, and then $39 million general fund for transition of seasonal firefighters to permanent firefighters. This was an issue, some of you may recall last year, where there was legislation presented to the governor that he did end up vetoing, I believe, or signaling that he would veto. And so in the intervening time between last year's budget and this year's budget, he got together with the firefighting union and was able to come to an agreement. And then there is a reversion of the home hardening funds of $13 million of general fund money. Next slide, please. Two of the big priorities that this organization has in front of the legislature is AB 617 monies and Clean Cars for All. And in particular, we have, in our advocacy in front of the legislature and the administration, been emphasizing the need to continue 617 funding, and in large part because of the good work that has been done here in South Sacramento and Florin, but also in large part because of the efforts that it took to gain the trust and the credibility of this organization with the community. And to have interrupted those funds would have undone that work and then put you back to having to go back and redevelop that credibility with those communities. And that has been an argument that has been very well received inside the legislature. So as you see the frameworks that are floating around for legislative proposals regarding greenhouse gas and the cap and trade, 617 is part of those proposals, and they intend to continue it moving forward. So we have trailer bill language that is out there. I would advocate for sustained funding for the 617 program, working within the Sacramento community here, and the timing for that would be the end of session. I would just note that in these frameworks, one of the things that they have is an efficacy review of those programs, so that it's a 5-year timeline that's been proposed at least by the Assembly, and that they would come back every 5 years and review the programs for their efficacy, and then either continue the ones that showed great promise and success, and then review those and perhaps eliminate in favor of others those that have not done well. The only thing that I would note here is that there are different views of what efficient programs are. And so what we need to impress upon the legislature and the administration is that getting applications in is just one measure of that, but the implementation side is the most important measure of success for these programs as they move forward. So it is important to look not only at adoption and application acceptance, but also the actual outcomes that are derived from these programs. Next slide, please. Clean Cars for All. This was an early action budget allocation, signaling the importance that is placed on this program by the administration in particular and CARB. So trailer bill language in the 2025-26 state budget allows money to be allocated to disadvantaged communities, unlocks the unspent funds from prior years, allowing CARB to direct these funds to districts with immediate need and efficiency, provides the flexibility to match the funds, and then the transparency and accountability measures are in there as well, as I just noted. Next slide, please. Again, as earlier stated, the two Sac Metro Air District priorities fully implement the reallocation authority. You don't use it, you lose it to air districts with demand and...
That was actually my great-grandmother's term. It's sweeping the nation.
And also a time-tested budgeting maxim. And then secure multi-year funding, start-stop funding disrupts delivery and creates uncertainty, as I had earlier noted. Next slide. Another priority for the district has been SB 88 by Senator Ana Caballero. This Sac Metro Air District sponsored this legislation along with Placer County Air Pollution Control District, and it requires CARB to develop methods and protocols to quantify the avoided emissions and beneficial uses of forest and agricultural biomass. It also directs or requests CAL FIRE to require both forest health projects to include a resource disposal component and directs the CEC to include biomass-derived low and negative carbon fuels in certain reports. This bill currently sits in the Assembly. It is on the Assembly Appropriations Committee suspense file, which is the file where bills that have a cost of more than a certain amount are placed for review by leadership and the chair of the committee. Tomorrow morning, the suspense file will be dispatched with, and we have fairly good odds of coming off the suspense file, mostly because Senator Caballero is...
Don't jinx us. Don't jinx us.
I am not trying to jinx us, but I will feel positive. I am going to have a positive outlook on this. And also because Caballero is the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, and so if she requests it, I'm fairly certain that she'll be able to get it off the
And this is a priority for her, so
Yeah.
I think we're in good shape.
The only hiccup that we might have is some resistance from CAL FIRE as to being told what to do. You know, sometimes agencies bristle at being directed by the legislature. So we're working through those issues, but I'm feeling fairly confident that we will get this to the governor's desk and that we will need to work on getting his signature to this bill. But the bill is a very positive bill. It's been warmly received by most of the folks in the legislature and has the potential to make a small but meaningful impact as we move towards trying to reduce emissions here in the region.
And, you know, I'll just add Senator Caballero is termed out next year, and we are currently looking at, you know, continuing the biomass discussion in the legislature and identifying our key players that represent the region, so stay tuned for that. I also want to thank the district for their hard work, and you guys do a great job in collaboration with other districts and stakeholders and your EJ community and the like, which helps us when we have boots on the ground in the legislature. The more people, the better. Thank you.
Is there a next slide?
No.
We're happy to answer any questions.
No mention of livable and lovable when we're getting an update about the legislature. Any questions from my colleagues? Director Guerra.
I just wanted to just say thank you. Appreciate your advocacy. Because of it, I think the work on the trailer bill and on the Clean Cars for All piece was an important progress moving forward, one that we've had a lot of resistance with the legislature, and being able to not have a duplicative program and trying to make that program work better for constituents is better. And frankly, I think it's because of the work of this air district and its employees that has made that program so successful. So, but as new programs come in, they don't always, you know, think about how does it fit with existing programs. So I appreciate that advocacy on the budget side.
Thank you. And for the record, I'm the lovable one.
Any other questions
Everyone
or
needs a bad
comments?
cop.
Okay, and we have nobody from the public who wants to speak on this item.
No, Chair, not at this time.
Okay, well, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
out. Appreciate it. All right, that takes us to our APCO report.
Awesome. I also want to thank our advocates. They do a great job for us. We're very fortunate to have them on our team. Thank you, guys. I just got three quick points to share with the board. Let's go to the next slide, please, Selena. So the first one is, and I will invite at the end of my remarks our Chair Aquino to see if she wants to offer some perspectives, but we had a very successful celebration last week. I had mentioned to this board in the past that we were fortunate to have our regional administrator, so this is the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA Region 9 Administrator, Josh Cook. He was recently appointed by President Trump. I think in March was his appointment. And he came out to Folsom to join us in this very important celebration. We attained the 2008 Ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standard. And that's a big deal, right? It's been 15 years in the making. In 2008, this region was designated not meeting the standard, what we call non-attainment. So it's been 15 years of hard collective work by ourselves and also our other 4 air agency partners around the region, Yolo Solano, Placer, El Dorado, and Feather River up in Sutter and Yuba counties. And we did it. And we did not want to miss the opportunity to actually pause and celebrate the achievement. It's a huge deal. I talk about this. I've been doing what I do for 30 years. This is my first time where I actually go from being designated and actually saying that we attained. I'm not going to see another one, right? So, I mean, this is a big deal. And we wanted to make sure that we took the opportunity to celebrate not only us, which is an important role we play as an air agency. We do all the air quality planning and all that, but really this is an achievement for the community, right? This is the businesses complying. This is people hitting the warning when we say, hey, let's not drive today, let's take transit. It's essentially the community doing their part, and it works, right? I mean, we are a proof that air quality planning in California and in the United States works as designed in the Clean Air Act. And for us, again, it was very, very meaningful to have a representative from the current EPA administration to join us. It was a great event. Congresswoman Matsui came out. But I'm going to stop here and see if Chair Aquino wants to offer her perspective.
I thought it was a great event. I thought Director Cook was excellent. Thank you to Director Guerra for coming out. But we also had representatives from business there in the audience. Tim Murphy was there, so I thought that was positive. Great to have Congresswoman Matsui. And many thanks to the Air District staff for all the work they did to put that event together. Director Guerra, you want to add anything?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, no, I thought it was, we had the Sac Metro Chamber as well, and a lot of, the health advocates as well. Folks basically saying that the reason we got to this is because we were working together. The community, our agencies, our local cities, but we couldn't have done that. And in fact, the US EPA administrator, his talking points were all focused on that, and was excited to see that, as he travels around and sees other jurisdictions, the fact that our jurisdiction was focused on how we work together to make a change, and this is a significant change, is what moves forward. So that was I was expecting a different speech, but I could see him rewriting his speech as we were sitting there, and but it spoke well of all our collective work.
Thank you.
So stay tuned, because obviously we have more recent standards that have been implemented. They are in different stages of implementation, so we'll come back to you and talk about the 2015 ozone standard and some of the new particle standards that are also in play. So next slide, please. Thank you for those of you that invited us. Too bad Director Cerna's not here, but he extended an invitation to our staff to come out to several of the national night out events. We like to come out to the community and do tabling to share some of our programs that are providing incentives for residents and businesses, and we do as much as we can. And here you have some candid pictures and a listing of the ones that we were able to attend. Our staff are great. They are very flexible. They try to make it work when we can and try to do as much as we can. So again, for the future, if you guys in your own lives as elected officials, if you've got community events, if you've got things where you think having somebody wave the air quality flag would benefit the event, let us know, and again, we'll try to do what we can. Next slide, please. This is the last thing I'm going to comment, and it's related to the previous presentation on our mobile lab, and just to make you aware, just to put a finer point, the lab is going to be moving to a location adjacent to the executive airport. And we've had discussions with the airport folks to let them know that we are actually going to be sampling and most likely catching the emissions, at least part of the emissions coming from the airport operations. I don't need to tell you that this is a potentially controversial issue. There's a lot of community concern, a lot of community interest around the airport. I know that if Vice Chair Maple was here, she would share with the board her intents to have a community conversation about the airport emissions. We want to interject ourselves because we want to provide the data. And the data we have, and we will bring back a full discussion to the board later this year. But the data we have suggests that, yes, of course, there are emissions from the airport operations, and some of these emissions are lead emissions. But we are not seeing those emissions impact the ambient air around the community. There's been several campaigns, not only by us, but by many other organizations. We have sampled the air around the community, and we are nowhere near where the lead National Ambient Air Quality Standard is, right? So again, we are going to be collecting more recent, more updated information. We're talking to the airport. But again, we just wanted to make you aware that this is going to be happening. And we're going to be there long term. That's the other important element here. The lab is going to sit there and sample for a year. That's going to give us some really nice information about understanding the trends, how the seasonal variation, the activity of the airport itself might impact what happens in the surrounding community. So very important, but as you heard, we are trying to be responsive to what the community wants, and this is an area where they've been asking us to go and take a look. So stay tuned again. We'll bring you back some more information. I think this is my last slide, so I'll take any questions or comments that you might have.
Director Gatta.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I know there's been some question and maybe some criticism about the fact that there isn't a built-in federal air monitor in that area, but to be clear, this mobile monitor is not only at the federal standard, but it even catches more information. So I wanted to make sure that those who are saying that we can't trust the air district information, this is the new technology that we actually have that actually has at not only federal monitor level, but even above that. Is that correct, Director Ayala?
That is correct, and I actually want to acknowledge, so this is a really nice asset that we have in the region. The lab was funded by the AB 617 funding that comes from, as you heard, the cap and trade funding. We have met our obligation and the initial intent to use it in South Sacramento flooring, but now we have it. And as Director Guerra said, think of the lab as one of those fancy stations like the one in Folsom, is just on wheels. And because it is a mobile, flexible lab, we're actually doing sampling that goes above and beyond what you would see in one of our standard stations. So it's a very powerful tool. And like I said, we are very fortunate, and I'm very glad that we're being responsive to what the community says, which is, hey, let's go take a look at the airport. And we're going to do that.
Okay, Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I appreciate the supposition that this data is going to confirm that the airport is not having a negative impact. My question is simply one of curiosity. When you place the mobile lab, do you take into account the prevailing wind or the wind rows so that we're making sure that we're in the area where, okay, good, I see a nodding head.
When we come back with a full discussion on the airport, what I showed on my slide is our staff have actually completed a very comprehensive study of the information that is available. And we're going to turn that into a discussion item, and we'll bring it back to you guys before the end of the year. So we'll talk about this. We have a good understanding, and again, thank you to our friends at the airport. We're working with them very closely. We have an understanding in terms of the activity, the takeoffs, the landings, the prevailing winds, where the emissions might go. So that is all going to be reflected in the way that we frame the conversation. The reason I'm confident we're not going to find any surprises is because, again, to date, we counted about a dozen different sampling campaigns. Obviously, many of them led by the county, way before many of us' time. And consistently, what we find is that this is not to say that there aren't lead emissions. Obviously, there are. The fuel has lead. And one of the things we're going to talk about is what is happening at the federal level to phase that out. But the good news, again, is the lead is not impacting the ambient concentrations around the community, which is of obviously concern. And we just want to provide the most recent, the most advanced, if you will, because the instruments we're using now, as we pointed out, are pretty robust, right? To confirm that and to provide some level of confidence to the community. This is not to say that, again, you as elected officials cannot continue the discussion in terms of, the airport and locations and all those other things.
Okay, Director Sander.
Yeah, coming from one of the big gaps in air monitoring in the region in Rancho Cordova, I'm sort of curious with data set from 1 year at a given location. That's sort of like an N of one, one cycle. How do you infer much from that?
So thank you for the question. You haven't been here for the conversations about where and how many stations are needed. And the short answer is because of the work and the history of this agency and our partners at the state and EPA, we have a really good understanding in terms of how air pollution is distributed regionally. And it's based on that, and because we do a required assessment of the air monitoring network on a routine basis, is because of that we say that we don't need a station in every quarter, right? Now, having said that, the stations are just one tool. Now there's a bunch of sensors out there. Many of you have those sensors. Residents have sensors.
Purple air, et cetera.
Exactly. And there's more coming. So there's been a number of additional monitoring campaigns. The result is Sacramento and our region is one of the most heavily saturated regions in terms of monitoring. That's a great thing, right? So think of the lab as simply adding, yes, it's another data point, but it's a really robust data point because of all the instrumentation that we can add to it to help us paint a better picture in terms of the things that we already understand.
So is there an overall model that this data will fit into and add to, as opposed to it being sort of an anecdotal measurement?
That's how we predict air quality and air pollution concentrations in the region, in the state, and in the country. Yes, the data eventually makes it to fairly sophisticated models of air quality, and that's how we can tell whether. That's how we do the forecasting, right? That's why we can tell Folsom 8 tomorrow is going to be a bad AQ day. So yeah, these are models that have been developed over the years, so pretty robust, very credible. They are models, right? And that's why we continually need to go out there and do the sampling that we're planning to do.
Thank you. Director
Kennedy.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Alberto. Excuse me. You and Jaime have had many conversations about the airport over the years. I'm glad to see that we are doing this monitoring and we'll have the data necessary to back up what we've been saying anyway. We hope it will back it up. But I hope that within the final report and whatever we come out with, you did mention the federal government phasing out leaded fuel and all that. I hope we make it crystal clear what can and cannot be done at the local level on that subject, and that the FAA and EPA have ultimate authority on much of this. There's a lot of misinformation that we all know about that is spread in the community about this subject, and I think this is a good opportunity to put an end to those myths that are being spread.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, it goes beyond local. I mean, the state cannot control. These are what are called preemptive sources, right? The right control is at the federal level, and this is why it's important for us to be talking to the airport folks, because they themselves obviously are tracking what is happening with the fuels, what is happening with the engine technology. I mean, this is all, like you said, it's safety first, right? As we hear when we get on a plane. So I think this is going to be a really good development. And to your point, the reason we're sharing with you is transparency, right? We're going to share the data just the way that we've been saying it. We're going to collect it and bring it back to you and the community as needed. And like I said, stay tuned. I hope that you can make it for when we have the full discussion in terms of what we have done in the report already, and then further discussions that we're going to have with the airport folks.
Director Cerna?
Thank you, Chair. So my apologies for arriving late, but it sounds like I stumbled in on a subject that is relevant certainly to the immediacy of my constituents in the 1st District, that being the district with the international airport in it. So, Alberto, I'm not sure the context, but I think I can decipher that you probably explained there's going to be some monitoring, or you're cooperating with our airport staff to give us an assessment or understanding of air quality in general as it relates to the airport operations?
Sorry, Director Cerna, we're talking about the executive airport.
Oh,
yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Important point.
Yeah, good
Yes.
clarification there.
Yes.
So,
not that we can do it at SMF,
No, okay.
but again,
All right,
this is
very
related to executive airport.
all right, very good. But I also heard from my chief of staff, too, as I was arriving late, that you had mentioned our National Night Out event in South Oak Park. So I wanted to publicly thank you and certainly all of your staff that were there to table the event, and we had a good turnout as we expect to do every year. But I think this was probably our best year. We probably had 300 to 400 people attend, and they had the opportunity to kind of learn from your staff what the district does, and certainly what's going on not just in South Oak Park but largely South Sacramento. So do appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. And this is kind of related, and I'm going to put Director Guerra on the spot. But again, we go out to share information and also to showcase and raise awareness about the technology, the cleaner technology that we are interested in promoting. And I missed the taco truck fueled with or powered by hydrogen event that Director Guerra had. But again, it's just an indication, right, that we are in the middle of this clean energy transition, and we just had in the region the very first demonstration where you can have your taco truck and everything else, and you can forget the humming gas generator in the back. Now we can do much better than that.
Well, now you can drive your electric lowrider to the taco truck.
You know, it's all coming together, right?
Yeah.
Director Guerra, what do you offer from that event?
Oh yeah, thank you. I had that imagery of the cherry 1964 Impala
there you
lowrider.
go.
That's a great one. Going to the Taco Truck Festival. So what a great event. I mean, all of us have gone to these events, whether it's the state fair or whatnot, where you have a lot of food trucks or vendors, and they all have a small generator. Well, once you get past 6 generators, and most of the time we'll have 10, the funds for the food truck, plus one for the beer garden, plus one for the stage. Now, you've got all these generators, and it gets loud, and so you people pump up the volume more, and they're, you can't even hear yourself talk. So when we had the hydrogen fuel truck, all you heard was just the musician and the quiet park. And everybody was coming up saying, this is amazing. We've never recognized how much that is. And then obviously you add the fumes. Now the smaller generators nowadays are much cleaner, and then the old basically lawnmower that we had as a generator growing up. But still, even with that, not having to have 12 generators going on at the same time with the fumes and the noise, and just one hydrogen fuel cell that was in the back of a little pickup truck was pretty amazing. And but yeah,
all I got to say is the CARB member representing us better have a hydrogen taco truck.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dr. Ayala. That takes us to board ideas, comments, and AB 1234 reports. Anything from anyone? I will just say that Dr. Ayala, Selena, and I have been working behind the scenes to make sure we have quorum for every meeting, so thank you to those of you who made the effort to be here today. Welcome to Director Lopez Taft, who is our new primary rep from Citrus Heights. Thank you to the City of Rancho Cordova for, I think you put Councilmember Gatewood is going to be your alternate when you're not able to be here. And we are working with Vice Chair Maple to see if the City of Sacramento can have some alternate reps, because right now you guys don't have alternates. So anyway, I have no other requests to speak. Selena, any requests for public comment?
Not at this time, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Then we will adjourn at 9:57 a.m. Thank you, everyone.